Can you see the screen, Mataji?
Yes. Yes. Please accept my humble obeisances, dear devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our Gurudev. I'm honored to try to serve you. Please bless me. Please pray for me. Please wish me well so that I can do justice to this service that Dinanath Prabhu has kindly given me. We are continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. Yesterday, we spoke about two very exalted personalities, Gandhari, the chaste wife of Dhritarashtra, and Pritha or Kunti Maharani. These personalities are described in the scriptures as very great, very chaste women, and their example is glorified as worshipable, as people to follow, and as models of chastity and followers of dharmic principles, who underwent great tapasya, great penances, and great austerities to serve the Lord, to serve their family members. So yesterday we saw two, and now we'll complete two more. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashta Praishva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we are coming now to Draupadi. Who is Draupadi? Draupadi is a very special personality, very, very chaste, very powerful, very beautiful, the wife of the 5 Pandava brothers. And she is actually born of the sacrificial fire that her father, Drupad, performed in order to beget a son who will kill Dronacharya. At one time, Dronacharya and Drupad were good friends, but due to some misunderstanding, some quarrel which happened between them, and something about the division of the kingdom, I do not remember all the details, he became very angry with Dronacharya and tried to defeat him in battle, but he couldn't defeat him. And then realizing that on his own he cannot defeat him, he decided to pray for a son who will be able to kill him in battle. And so he performed a yajna, a fire sacrifice. And from this fire sacrifice was born Drishtadyumna, his son, who then later on was instrumental in killing Dronacharya. And Draupadi was also born. But Draupadi was a very beautiful maiden. It is said that she was the most beautiful woman of her time. In the Mahabharata, Adi Parva, her description is that she was of a dusky complexion, slender-waisted, extremely beautiful, so beautiful that even a celestial or a Gandharva, what to speak of a human being, would want to marry her. Her description is that she had very dark, curling, beautiful hair. She had eyes like 2 black lotuses, and she had a bodily effulgence and a bodily fragrance that was perceivable for 2 miles around her, that of a blue lotus. So an extremely beautiful princess was born to King Drupad, who later on performed a Swayamvar ceremony for his daughter, in which Arjuna won her hand by performing another incredible feat of shooting an arrow at a target that was revolving at high speed, a fish attached to the spoke of a wheel on the periphery of the wheel. And the assignment was that you have to shoot the eye of the fish, but you couldn't look at it directly. You had to look at the reflection below in the water and shoot upward. What a feat. And Arjuna performed this feat and won the hand of Draupadi. How did she become the wife of 5 Pandava brothers? It so happened that Arjuna came home with his wife, and Kunti Mataji his mother was offering her evening prayers in the altar, facing the altar. Her back was to the door. And when Arjuna walked in, he announced to his mother, "See, mother, what I have brought for you today." Kunti Maharani, without turning around, she said, whatever it is, my dear son, please share it equally with your brothers. And because the order of the mother should never be disobeyed, Draupadi became the wife of the 5 husbands. But this was actually part of the benediction that she had asked for in a previous lifetime. She was born the daughter of sage Medhavi. And at a very early age, her mother passed away. And she was raised by her father, who was a sage, very powerful sage. And she was extremely beautiful, but the sage did not take any interest in her welfare so much. And he did not arrange her marriage. He did not arrange a suitable groom for her. And so she was becoming older and older, and all her girlfriends and others were getting married and having children, but she was still a spinster. So she was very, very unhappy and very upset. And meanwhile, her father died. He passed away. So she was very morose and very upset and living alone in that hermitage. And then along came Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni, she served him very nicely when he came to her hermitage, and she offered him nice foodstuffs and hospitality and everything. But she was very morose, and she was not looking happy. So Durvasa Muni said, my dear child, what is wrong? You're not looking happy at all. So then she explained her situation. She said, I have nobody in the world. My father also passed away. I lost my mother when I was very young, and I am not married. I have no one in the world, and I have no husband to protect me, and I'm all alone by myself. I'm very morose. So Durvasa Muni thinks for some time, and he said, yes. And he says, in a few months' time, Purushottam Mass is coming. This is a very glorious month. So in this month, you perform austerities and penances, and surely your heart's desire will be fulfilled. Now, this young girl, not knowing the power of Durvasa Muni or the power of Purushottam month, the glories of Purushottam month, she started getting angry. She said, this is called the Mala Mass month, which means, anyway, it's a very bad month, all inauspiciousness and so many things. So how you're telling me to perform austerities? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. So she gets very upset and angry. Durvasa Muni gets even more angry with her. But then, instead of cursing her, he checks himself. He realizes that this poor girl is very bewildered and being alone, orphan. He decides not to curse her. He still is angry with her, but he tells her, I'm not going to curse you because you're, alone and an orphan. But because you have, not glorified Purushottaman, in fact, you have spoken ill, you have to suffer the reactions. And so you will have to, you will get your heart's desire of husband, but you will suffer enormously. Something to the effect that she would not like those that consequence. So saying that, he left, and then she becomes very, very upset, very upset. And she realizes this is not good what she has said and done to the sage. And so she performs severe austerities, severe tapasyas, and Lord Shiva appears before her. And by that time, she's so frustrated. So the moment Lord Shiva appears before her, she says, give me a husband, give me a husband, give me a husband, give me a husband, give me a husband. Like this, she asks 5 times. And Lord Shiva says, so be it. Suddenly feeling ashamed, she says, oh my Lord, please take this back. I do not want 5 husbands. It's not very auspicious to have 5 husbands. So Lord Shiva says, I cannot retract now the blessing I have given you, but you will have very glorious husbands. And so saying, Lord Shiva leaves. Mortified by what is happening, she performs severe tapasya and she gives up her body. And so in the next life now, she is born as Draupadi. Because of her penances and austerities now, she has a very exalted birth. She is very beautiful, very powerful, very chaste. And now she gets 5 husbands. So she's not a small person. She's a person of very exalted stature by way of her spiritual power. So let's read. The most chaste daughter of Maharaj Drupad is partly an incarnation of the goddess Sachi, the wife of Indra. Maharaj Drupad performed a great sacrifice under the superintendence of the sage Yaja. By his first offering, Drishtadyumna was born, and by the second offering, Draupadi was born. She is therefore the sister of Drishtadyumna, and she is also named Panchali. The 5 Pandavas married her as a common wife, and each of them begot a son in her. Maharaj Yudhishthir begot a son named Pratibhin. Bhimsena begot a son named Sutasoma. Arjuna begot Shrutakirti. Nakula begot Shatanika. And Sahadev begot Shrutakarma. She is described as a most beautiful lady, equal to her mother-in-law Kunti. During her birth, there was an arrow message that she should be called Krishna. The same message also declared that she was born to kill many a Kshatriya. By dint of her blessings from Shankar, that is Lord Shiva, she was awarded 5 husbands equally qualified. When she preferred to select her own husband, princes and kings were invited from all the countries of the world. She was married with the Pandavas during the exile in the forest. But when they went back home, Maharaj Drupad gave them immense wealth as a dowry. She was well received by all the daughters-in-law of Dhritarashtra. When she was lost in a gambling game, she was forcibly dragged into the assembly hall, and an attempt was made by Dushasan to see her naked beauty, even though there were elderly persons like Bhishma and Drona present. She was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and by her praying, the Lord himself became an unlimited garment to save her from the insult. Some ladies say this is the sari incarnation of Krishna. And we can see here it is true. He himself became an unlimited garment to save her from the great insult. A demon of the name Jatasur kidnapped her, but her second husband, Bhimsena, killed the demon and saved her. She saved the Pandavas from the curse of Maharishi Durvasa by the grace of Lord Krishna. When the Pandavas lived incognito in the palace of Virat, Kichaka was attracted by her exquisite beauty, and by arrangement with Bhima, the devil was killed and she was saved. She was very much aggrieved when her 5 sons were killed by Ashwathama. At the last stage, she accompanied her husband Yudhishthir and others and fell on the way. The cause of her falling was explained by Yudhishthir, but when Yudhishthir entered the heavenly planet, he saw Draupadi gloriously present there as the goddess of fortune in the heavenly planet. Subhadra. She is the daughter of Vasudeva and the sister of Lord Krishna. She was not only a very dear daughter of Vasudeva, but also a very dear sister to both Krishna and Baladev. The 2 brothers and sister are represented in the famous Jagannath temple of Puri, and the temple is still visited by thousands of pilgrims daily. This temple is in remembrance of the Lord's visit at Kurukshetra during an occasion of solar eclipse and his subsequent meeting with the residents of Vrindavan. The meeting of Radha and Krishna during this occasion is a very pathetic story, and Lord Sri Chaitanya, in the ecstasy of Radharani, always pined for Lord Sri Krishna at Jagannath Puri. While Arjun was at Dwaraka, he wanted to have Subhadra as his queen, and he expressed his desire to Lord Krishna. Sri Krishna knew that his elder brother Lord Baladev was arranging her marriage elsewhere, and since he did not dare to go against the arrangement of Baladev, he advised Arjun to kidnap Subhadra. So, when all of them were on a pleasure trip on the Raivata hill, Arjun managed to kidnap Subhadra according to the plan of Sri Krishna. Sri Baladev was very angry at Arjun and he wanted to kill him. But Lord Krishna implored his brother to excuse Arjuna. Then Subhadra was duly married with Arjun and Abhimanyu was born of Subhadra. At the premature death of Abhimanyu, Subhadra was very mortified. But on the birth of Parikshit, she was happy and solaced. So we can see these are all very great personalities. They're very great queens, very devoted to the Supreme Lord. And Subhadra comes as the sister of Krishna and Baladev. She is famous for her being the sister of the 2 most powerful personalities, Krishna and Balaram. In fact, Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, they all 3 go together. Whenever we see the Rath Yatra card, we see Lord Baladev, we see Subhadra, and we see Jagannath, all coming out in succession. These are the famous trio of personalities that are worshipped at Jagannath Puri. And as the description goes, she was actually in love with Arjun, and she also wanted to marry him. But Duryodhan was being arranged by Lord Baladev as the groom for her, and she also did not want that. So Arjun, when he expressed his desire, Krishna agreed, and he suggested to Arjun to kidnap Subhadra, which was the accepted way to acquire a princess. In fact, Kshatriyas were supposed to prove their valor by fighting other princes who wanted the princess, and capturing the princess in that way. And it is said that the princesses were so well versed in the art of warfare also, that even Subhadra could drive the chariot. So after her kidnapping, when Arjun was busy fighting off all the Kauravas with his arrows, it was Subhadra who was driving the chariot. Like that. So Subhadra Maharani ki jai. I would like to also talk about maybe a little bit more about Draupadi, where in the end, it is said, I did mention that, yeah, the cause of her falling was explained by Yudhishthir. When the Yudhishthir entered the heavenly planet, he saw Draupadi gloriously present there as the goddess of fortune. So if we look at Srimad Bhagavatam, in the very last ending of their pastimes, one by one, they all leave the palace and start going off. Yudhishthir, Bhimsen, Arjun, everyone. Seeing all of them going, Draupadi realizes that everyone is going to give up their body and go back to Krishna. So she also does the same thing. She also focuses her mind on Krishna and gives up her body and attains the lotus feet of Krishna. But now I do not understand why it is mentioned heavenly planet when actually they go back to the spiritual world. So we have to find out that from Guru Maharaj. I'm a little puzzled by that. I must confess, I don't know the reason for that. All the incidents of Draupadi I mentioned first, but let me explain about this Kichaka incident. Kichaka was the brother of the queen. King Virat was the king who gave shelter to all the Pandavas when they were in exile. And the very last year, they were supposed to be incognito. That means they should not be recognized by anyone, because if they were found out, they would have to spend another 14 years in exile. So they all had to disguise themselves in some way so that they could not be recognized. So Arjuna became a eunuch, actually. And he became the dance teacher of the daughter of King Virat, that is Uttara. Bhimsena decided to become the chief cook in the king's palace because he loved to eat a lot. So he decided to become the chief cook. Yudhishthir decided to become one of the Brahmanas to advise the king in the king's ministry. Nakul and Sahadev decided to offer their services in the horse stables and with the cows, respectively. So this is how they disguise themselves. Now Draupadi, what will she do? So she decided to become the queen's maid, and she took the name Sairandri in that disguise. But she was very, very beautiful. Even though she looked like a maid in simple dress, her beauty could not be denied. And the queen's brother, Kichaka, who was like a demon, became very attracted to her and wanted to consort with her. And when she told him that I am married, I have very powerful husbands, said, where are your husbands? She said, they're Gandharvas, you cannot see them. Please don't. She actually told him not to mess with her, saying that the consequences will be very grave because my husbands will take offense. He did not pay any heed, and he tried again to molest her. So she went and complained to Bhima. So what Bhima did, he said, all right, he has asked you to come to his room at night. I will go in disguise as you. So he dons the dress of a woman and he enters into the room of Kichak. When Kichak tries to undress Bhimsena, to his surprise, he finds this is not Draupadi after all, but her very powerful husband, but it's too late. So Bhimsena finishes off Kichaka for insulting his wife, Draupadi. So that is the incident I didn't mention. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about Dushasan. Yes, when she was born, it was predicted that she will be killing many Kshatriyas simply by her birth. And this is exactly what happened. 100 Kauravas were killed. All the 100 Kauravas were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. Not only that, many, many, many millions of soldiers. Srila Prabhupada says 64 crores. I think that 64 million soldiers were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. And Dushasan especially, who had dragged her by her hair and brought her to the court, she had taken a vow that she will never tie up her hair until she can bathe her hair in the blood of Dushasan. She was so insulted by what he did to her, tried to strip her naked. She was a very powerful woman. So from that point on, she had always kept her hair loose. And finally, when Dushasan was killed, she dipped her hair in his blood and from then on tied it up properly. So this was the vow she had taken about, taking revenge because of the terrible insult done to her, to drag her out of the ladies, the queen's quarters, especially when she was in a very delicate time of the month. She was just wearing a single white garment and she was not to be disturbed because those days are very delicate in a woman's, and she was very young. She was only in her 30s. And still Dushasan had the gall to pull her out and drag her and try to openly disrobe her in an open assembly where many men were present. This is a great insult to her womanhood. And being a princess and a queen, she took that terrible vow that until he is killed, she will not tie her hair. So that's one thing I forgot to tell. So I think we can stop over there. This is a very spontaneous class. I did not expect to speak so much, but I hope that it is satisfactory. I know it's not the best, but I did the best I could. So maybe our Dinanath Gauranga Prabhu can also add something, or if anybody else knows more pastimes of Draupadi or Subhadra, please feel free to add and we can discuss a little bit more. Thank you so very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for joining and thank you for helping us cover the class. Thank you very much. So dear devotees, I know it was a short interactive sessions, but I would really appreciate if you can all participate. If you have any questions, comments regarding these two personalities or any other personalities that were described in this verse, please feel free to ask the question. Also, to make this session more interactive, I would really appreciate if you can turn on our cameras, if you can, if you are in a location where you can comfortably do so. I would appreciate if you can do that. And you can also post your questions through the comments if you cannot speak, and I can read it on behalf of yourself. Thank you. So Hare Krishna, Mataji, whilst the devotees contemplate on these personalities and we participate in discussions, I also had the same question because it was mentioned she went to the heavenly planets, but then also Goddess of Fortune was mentioned, so it didn't kind of tied up there. But why is she mentioned as a Goddess of Fortune there, Mataji? Do we know? In the verse.
Interesting. Why is she mentioned as the Goddess of Fortune? She is a partial incarnation of the goddess Sridevi. That's what is mentioned in the first line of that purport. So why did she attain that position of the Goddess of Fortune? I can't recall reading anything. So I think it's best for me to research because otherwise I'll just end up speculating.
No, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to answer you right off the top of my head because I don't have that knowledge. I'll have to look into that a little bit more.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Sukava Mataji, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Om Namo to Srila Prabhupada, Om Karish to Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Sridevi Mataji, for a lovely class. Very spontaneous, very nice, interesting. And, it's always great to hear about these personalities and discuss them. I had a question similar to Diptesh Prabhu as well about the goddess of fortune, but it's already been asked. Another thing, if you can specify, what is the difference between austerity and penance?
Good question. Austerity is something one voluntarily performs. One actually takes it up that I will do this, I will fast, I will stand, on tippy toes for 1 month calling out to the Lord. I mean, whatever it is that Hiranya. So those are voluntary. Penance is some hardship that one may undergo even involuntarily. Like in the Ekadashi Mahatmya, you will hear about how one person in the entire night in the forest, he just spent without eating, without drinking, suffering because he lost his way, things like that. Unknown to him, he performed a penance and reaped the result of doing that Ekadashi fast. Like that. So that is also an austerity, but it is involuntarily performed. So that is my understanding of the difference between austerity and penance, because penance may be something you will do without even knowing you're doing or being sometimes forced to do it due to circumstances, but it is still considered a penance because you have performed it. This is my understanding. I could be wrong, but I can check and clarify and let you know.
That's fine, no problem. Thank you. Because I always get confused, the austerity and penance, like both sounds quite similar, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
That is true. They sound very similar, but what is the difference?
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other comments, questions? Oh, Shilkrish Prabhu, thank you. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Candramauli Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev and Sukava. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. I got carried away by your question. I forgot to offer my obeisances to you.
No, you don't have to, Mataji. Thank you.
So I understand Draupadi's father did a yagna. So was she born of Agni? Am I correct in that understanding? And what does that really mean?
Yes, the description is she was born of the fire. That's the description, literally. So she actually emerged from that fire, just as Drishtadyumna was born from that fire. She was also born from the fire.
And how do we understand that? Like somebody
that is something mystical. We cannot understand these things, but this is what happened. They emerged from the fire.
Thank you, Mataji.
I know some things are very hard to understand. Celestial voices saying this, and then the baby escaping from the hand of Kamsa, assuming an 8-armed form and saying, "You fool, Kamsa, the child who is going to kill you is already born somewhere else. Don't harass your poor sister." And then she disappears. And that's Durga Devi, isn't it? That small baby is actually Durga Devi. So how is all that? Suddenly she, escapes from his hands, assumes an 8-armed form, and from the sky she's telling him all these things, and then she disappears. So all these are very wonderful things, but they are actually true and they happen.
Thank you. Also, we were all able to meet Maharaj yesterday at the Jankinath Memorial. And
yes.
It was lovely to meet Dinanath Prabhuji and Sukava Mataji and everyone else. Absolutely. Everybody who's on the call, we met pretty much yesterday. So it was absolutely wonderful.
So Janakinath is continuing to unite all of us. How sweet. I would have loved to join, but it was very late in the night even to join via Zoom. So I couldn't join, in the program. I wish it was a little earlier, then I would have joined.
There's a recording on YouTube. I'll send you the link.
Okay. Please do. I would be happy to receive it and to hear about my glorious godbrother again. Such a shiny.
It was really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Such an inspiration, such a shining example of surrender, of service, of loyalty, of faith in the spiritual master, faith in the scriptures, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and faith in the holy name. Such a shining example for all of us, only 36 years old. And he gave up his body due to cancer, but what a glorious fight. What a glorious fight. He became victorious over his disease by, transcending it. What an example for all of us, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Glorious spiritual warrior. And always smiling, always cheerful, always optimistic, bouncing around with enthusiastic energy. My goodness, we cannot stop the glorification of Janaki Nath once we begin. He was so full of life, laughter. He was a jokester. He was dead serious about spiritual life, but he was so full of fun and humor and jokes and laughter. So he was embodying so many great Vaishnava qualities, sense of humor. He will joke like anything. And he would have a whole host of magic tricks up his sleeve. And that's how he would capture people's attention in busy subways and, crossroads and things like that, capture their attention and then give them books. He was a very good book distributor. He was an amazing, just an amazing personality. Just hearing about him is so purifying.
And he was very, very, very good in lecture. Very good in lecture.
Yes.
Everybody listened to him, really, really listened to him. I heard one of his lecture. It was with a cancer patient who was being together and listened to his lecture. Oh, and he was wonderful in his lecture. Very nice. Very, very beautiful.
Yeah, because he was so pure. He was so pure-hearted that all he wanted to do was give his best to you. He never wanted anything from you. On the other hand, he wanted to give to you. So he had reached that platform of pure soul, giving service to everyone. So because of his spiritual power, he was very potent. And his impact was felt by thousands of people whom he came in touch with. Such a great
And His Holiness had very good memories, some of them very funny, and some of them special, very, very special to listen to. Last night when I listened to the memories and His Holiness talk about it, and it was so nice to listen to it. Very, very beautiful.
Yes, he was fighting a battle with cancer for 4 years. The last 4 years of his life, he had so many abdominal surgeries. He had to take 30 pills a day. He had to undergo chemotherapy, radiation. He suffered enormously on the bodily level from so much pain. And he just transcended all of that and finally gave up his body, gloriously preaching till the end. Just few minutes, 15, 20 minutes before he left his body, he was preaching to a nurse and sharing with her his TEDx talk and then asking her, so what did you learn? She said, I learned that I must associate with the devotees of Bhaktivedanta manner. Amazing personality, such an amazing personality. And now Srila Gurudev says that, Krishna didn't allow any of the treatments to take effect because he wanted him back. So he just came for a short while to complete his material karma and then he went back to Krishna as a gopi. That's my belief.
Yeah, somebody said that he must be on another planet, fulfilling Krishna's another mission there.
Very likely. Very likely.
The way he has gone, the way the time of departure, it seems so pure, so out of the world. It must be the sign that he really, really went back to the Godhead. Because some moments before departure, he sits up. He sits up and he has smile on him, and he departure. So it must be very, very, very special sign to show that now I'm back to the Godhead.
Yeah. Yes. there was a golden glow. The person who was with him in the end, he said there was a golden glow on him as he left his body. So he felt the presence of, Krishna, or Krishna's possibly Vishnu Duta, the somebody who came to take him back to the spiritual world. There's a whole description about his departure by one person who was in the room when he left his body. So what a lesson for us, folks. Just think about that. Janakinath Prabhu suffering from cancer, having such pain, undergoing so many medical treatments, but never stops preaching, never stops giving Krishna consciousness to others, always trying to do his best to serve Guru Maharaj. He was Guru Maharaj's personal servant for some time also, until Guru Maharaj said, no, I think you should just preach, and personal service is all right, but you are actually meant to be a preacher. So he did so much, organizing cancer patient retreats, and some of those people, for the first time ever, they saw Radha Gokulananda, and they gave up their body afterwards. So they actually glimpsed the Lord before giving up their bodies. So he used even cancer as a platform to go deeper into Krishna consciousness, as a platform to preach to a population that probably would never come to a temple. He organized that retreat where all the cancer patients came to Bhaktivedanta Manor, nurses and medical aides and everyone, and they told him that they had the most beautiful day of their lives at Bhaktivedanta Manor because they had a whole day of programs there. What a gift to people who are leaving their bodies. Such an amazing personality that even through his pain, he transcended that to reach out. I mean, it's unbelievable how a person can do that. They have to be empowered, especially by the Lord, to teach us through their example. Very, very powerful personality. And he was our God brother. He is our God brother. It's just amazing that such a personality came into our God family. And for the next 10,000 years, we are going to be talking about him. Our children's children, everybody is going to hear of him through us.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Yes, it was a very wonderful function, very, very glorious memories shared by many great personalities, and so much to learn, so much to catch up. So we've got Raj Prabhu who's raised his hands. Prabhu, do you have a question regarding the verse, regarding the content that we covered?
I had a question on the verse, but after that discussion on Jankinath Prabhu, it seems that we should continue talking about Jankinath Prabhu. So I'm going to hold off my question and mention something from yesterday's, something that I learned and took home from yesterday's memorial program. There's a moment in the memorial, and I can't remember which Prabhu it was that was speaking at the time, but I remember just one line that was like really hit home. Look, I have to take this home and I have to practice it every day. And it's like Jankinath Prabhu said to him, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And he was like so happy he was going to make it. And he said, if I can make it, anyone can. You just have to be absorbed. I thought that was a really powerful lesson in the whole memorial. We just have to be absorbed. I can ask my question now if you like.
Yes, please go ahead. No, thank you for sharing. That was, yes, thank you. Prabhu, please go ahead.
In the verse, you're talking about how Balaram wanted Draupadi to marry to, who was it?
Duryodhan.
Sorry?
To Duryodhan, one of the Kaurava princes.
Yeah, yes. So I was thinking, how can that be? Because Balaram is the Supreme Lord. He knows everything. How can he desire a most glorious soul like Draupadi to be wedded to Duryodhana? I don't understand that.
Well, Lord Balaram was teaching the art of mace fighting to both Duryodhana and Bhimsena. And because Duryodhana became so expert, Duryodhana became a very pet disciple, you can say, of Lord Balaram. And Balaram had a partiality for Duryodhana. And so therefore he wanted to favor him by arranging for Draupadi, arranging for Subhadra, to marry Duryodhan, being his disciple, his shishya, his pupil, and learning the art of mace fighting so nicely from him. So it is natural sometimes for a teacher to develop a fondness for a particular disciple who is learning the art very nicely and who is following all the instructions very nicely. And Duryodhan won the favor of Lord Balaram. Duryodhan was a prince. He was also very handsome, very valorous, very brave, knew all the arts of martial fighting. He knew everything. His only problem was he was very jealous and envious of the Pandavas. But as a prince, he was very valorous, very brave, and very, qualified as a prince. He wasn't a weakling. He wasn't, behaving like a Shudra. He behaved like a prince. So Balaram thought, well, this is a good person for my sister to marry. So that's how, he wanted. And Duryodhan, Balaram, to him, Kauravas and Pandavas, he was equally fond of them because they were so close. That's why he refused to take part in the war. He said, I will go off on pilgrimage, remember? He didn't want to fight on either side. He didn't want to take sides. So he decided to go off on pilgrimage. He wasn't around during the Kurukshetra war.
Yeah, I still struggle with it because I thought even when Duryodhana was born, there's like all the ill omens, all the signs.
Sorry?
But even when at the time that Duryodhana took birth, there were so many ill omens.
Yes.
And
yes,
and
it is.
the wise sages actually advised that that they destroy the child
Yes.
at birth. So
Yes. Saying this child will bring great sorrow and will destroy the family. Yes, that is true. But still he was raised as a prince. He was given all the martial arts training as a prince. He was very handsome. He was very strong. He was a full Kshatriya warrior. So, and Balaram didn't want to differentiate between the Kauravas and Pandavas and take sides. So he was fond of Duryodhana. Now you may say he's the supreme personality of Godhead. Why is he fond of Duryodhana? He is the supreme Lord. The Lord is fond of demons also because even they are his children. He doesn't hate anyone. Krishna is the supreme Lord. I remember in one conversation with Guru Maharaj, I was saying, oh, Guru Maharaj, you're so dear to Krishna. You're his pure something. And so Srila Gurudev said, even the demons are very dear to Krishna. Because everyone is a soul. And so therefore, that soul is a part and parcel of Krishna. So Krishna doesn't hate the demons. We must understand this point. He kills the demons and therefore benedicts them, but he doesn't hate the demons.
Thank you, Mataji.
thank you.
I think we have time for one last question. Scarlett Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, and thank you very much for today's class. I have a question about Duryodhana and his brothers. I don't know if he's right, but I read somewhere that they were in previous life, they were demons. Have I understood it? Have I read wrong? That they were demon in previous life?
I don't remember reading that anywhere, but maybe it's true because I personally don't recall reading about what was the previous life of the Kauravas. So where is your reference from? Which book, or which, can you quote any reference for that?
I don't remember if it was in Purana I read. I have all the Purana, and I don't remember if it was in Purana or it was in Upanishad, but I think it was Purana, Vedic Purana. I think it was there that Duryodhana and his brother, all of them came from one baby which was chopped off and put it in the pot, in 100 pots, until they got mature for birth, and they were in previous life they were demon.
It's
I did.
possible.
I don't know if
know.
it's right or not, but I just read about it.
Right. I cannot say for sure because I have not read this. I will have to read it again, Mahabharata going back. So I won't be able to say yes, I won't be able to say no until I research and find out.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Is that okay, Scarlett Mataji?
I'll have to look into that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So if there are no further questions, we can conclude the class. Mataji, is that okay? Sridevi Mataji?
Yes.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha samaveta bhakta vrinda ki jai, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.